Yeah, hi, Bobby. You know, five of this team's 6 wins have come on the second end of these back-to-back games. Are you sensing just a more urgency ramping up after you lose the first game? And if so, how do you get that? How do you get that same urgency just in the first meeting?
To start, yeah. I think that's got a good amount to do with it. You feel like you drop one and you let two get away, but there's a chance to I guess be 500 in the series if you want to put it one way. We make adjustments that seem to benefit us and on that day in between a lot of times, and that's got something to do with it as well. But you're right. It's a great question. It'd be the easiest job in sports to give you that answer if I had it, of why you're kind of, I don't want to say we're lacking, but I think because I feel like the energy's there in the room in warm-ups and everything like that. It's just there's just a little disconnect between the warm-up and the first period, and we play from behind on a lot of those games. But there's no emotional letdown ahead of the game. It's just it's finding that connection. So keep searching, keep trying different things, and going from there.
And also, just last night, just that kind of reinforced the way some of those goals went in. Just getting pucks on net, just kind of simple shots, just wherever you can, just to make the goal, you have to make the save.
Yeah, I think I think anybody that's not only just an offensive player, but anybody that's not scoring goals or seeing shots go in, I think a lot of times mentally you're telling yourself to put more pucks there, but internally you're passing shots up. Actually, you're going the other way. I know I'm guilty of that. Sometimes it's just about simplifying, putting pucks on net. None of Gags had 3 last night. The 2 that he scored weren't pretty, but he just found a simple way to get the puck to the net. And whether that one goes in or the next one, because it creates traffic and it creates mayhem around the goalie, those are the things that you got to kind of get back to as your staples when you're not scoring. And offensive guys, myself included, I think we'll tell you that you almost get too fancy and you're passing up those chances to score the ugly goals. So we simplified and it got us 5, and now you can watch that and kind of reiterate that, and hopefully that becomes a little more of a trend for us.
Thanks, Bobby.
My pleasure.
Next up, we go to Wayne St. James from the Detroit Free Press.
Hi, Bobby. You guys went through a stretch where you were playing well, playing close games, but losing. How much can having won the other night against Florida, a tight game, having had an outburst like last night, help you guys to maybe now build on something positive? I mean, it's 22 games into the season, you haven't won 2 games in a row yet, but you have to feel like you have something going now.
Yeah, I think we do. I think you go back to those close games, and we left a lot of them. I remember specifically the one in Nashville where we lost with a minute left and felt we deserved a better fate than that night, but came back, won the next one. I think what we as a team are starting to do is realizing that all those 1-goal games, tight games, those losses are going to add up to start switching, and we're starting to stay the course a little bit better. Again, it goes back to not scoring as many goals. I don't like the word cheat because I don't think you cheat for offense, but I think you try to create something out of nothing way too many times, and we were guilty of that when we were losing those games. Now you're starting to see guys put pucks behind and get second and third layers into the net, into corners, and those have to be staples for us if we're going to win. We're not a team that can run and gun things at teams, and we're starting to realize that. And I think in our last 8 or 9 games, our brand of hockey's been a lot better. We've gotten away from it in a few, but that's a team that's growing. All that being said, I think we're starting to put some things in place that can to help us be much more competitive.
So, I mean, both of you and Sam are veterans, but when you've been creating like you guys have and hadn't had a lot to show for it, how gratifying is it to have a night like last night still, even though you're not rookies in the league?
Yeah, I think for Gags, I think you saw the relief on the first goal, especially with some of the things that he's created, and that's the one that goes in. It just speaks volumes to, how daunting it is. I think because we're here for a couple hours a day, people don't realize that it weighs on us all the time, and it's something that we go home and think about, and how can we do this, and how can we do that, and to see him and then for him being out a few games and having that kind of response and getting those goals, now you hope the confidence for him goes through the roof, and for me, something to learn from, because again, searching for that perfect shot's not always the answer, right? Sometimes it's just about putting the puck in and letting the puck do the work, and he did that, got rewarded, and now, other guys like myself can look to that.
Lastly, you're going on the road, what's the Bobby Ryan Book Club?
You know what, I have, since the last trip, I haven't touched the book. I've been just kind of waiting to go for it, but I got to finish Robinson Crusoe, and then I'm going to go off my book list and go to War and Peace.
Okay. Where'd you get your book list from?
What's the website? I think it's like the 100 books every man must read. I typed that in, and then it came to, I think it's like The Art of Manliness was the name of the website that the PDF came from. So if anybody's looking, they can go find it there.
Okay, but you're digging into War and Peace after Robinson Crusoe?
Yeah, that's not on that list, so I'm gonna have to go off of it. But since I got it as a gift, you got to read it, right? And everything I've read about the book, it seems like it's gonna be a great read. So I'm excited for it.
It is, absolutely. Thank you,
Okay,
Bob.
thank you.
Next up, we'll go to Ted Colton from Detroit News.
Excuse me.
Ted Colton's book must not have been on that list probably, but whatever.
I'm gonna get to it anyway.
Hey, the TSN trade update list I think came out too here recently, or is coming out. Your name's probably gonna be on there. Have you and Steve talked about it, or where are you guys at this point with this whole thing?
No, there hasn't been any conversation at this point. I think when I signed, I knew that was going to be something that was a possibility if I had come in and played well. And that it was going to be a win-win situation if I played well. Possibly for me to get the opportunity to go somewhere and be in a playoff race, and for the team to get an asset. So I understand the business side of that thing. The only conversation I had with Steve way back when was that we would have a conversation about that as the time came. And, I've heard the whispers and things like that. So you take it with a grain of salt until Steve or your agent comes and tells you exactly what's happening. But, when I was younger, it would have been something that weighed on me heavily, having been through it one time. Not so much anymore. Now it's just, I can't control any of that. Just going to play.
Is this a place, how have you enjoyed it here so far? And is this a place where you could get comfortable in, you think?
We've loved it. I say we as a family, my wife loves it, is very happy in the area. It's kids are kids. I think they like it, but who knows? There's no, I know my daughter likes going to dance class and things like that, but we're very comfortable here. It feels weird to be talking about a trade. I've played 20 games, right, in a sweater, and it's just such a weird year. But yes, we've loved every single moment of it. Whether it's tomorrow or 5 weeks down the road, I feel fortunate that I've gotten to play here, wear the winged wheel. Love the group, love the coaching, everything about it. Just honestly, everything about it's been an incredible experience. So if there's an opportunity for me to come back in the summer, it'll be a conversation that Steve will have with me. I don't know what his plans are, but it'll be very, very high on my list. I absolutely love it here.
And is that really weird? I mean, it's gotta be. I mean, we've only reached like the 22 game mark or whatever, and while talking about trade deadlines and stuff, is this just another ingredient or caveat about how weird this season has been? I mean,
yeah, how weird the calendar year's been since going back to last March, I guess, right? With all the ups and downs, and then and that's life in general, right? And then you add in, a very, very condensed season, and like I said, 20 games in, and you're talking about it, and just I feel like I'm just getting my feet wet as a Red Wing, right? It's a little sad, right? I'm just starting to really get comfortable with the guys and all that kind of stuff, even though I have been, but we're really starting to settle in and have a place in the locker room and things like that. So just the nature of the year, there's nothing you can really do about it, unfortunately.
sounds good. Thanks, Ms.
My pleasure.
And the last question will come from Art Legner from DetroitRedWings.com.
Hey, Bobby, how's it going?
Good, thank you.
Since we can't get into the room and none of us have actually physically met you, I'm kind of curious during this odd season and Zoom calls and what the Red Wings have gone through on and off the ice. Can you give us a sense of what the room is like? What has impressed you about it compared to other teams that you've been on that have faced adversity much like the Red Wings have this year?
Yeah, we're so spread out now too that there's there's days where I feel like I don't see any of the defensemen until we're on the ice, right? You're just kind of doing things. You're not doing things in group. You're in the room now, and that was different than it was before we started. But it's very spread out. But that being said, you get together between periods and things like that. I would say there's a very, very quiet resolve within the guys that know they're going to be here for a while, that they're building something, that the results aren't immediate, right? They're not getting down about it. They're not getting, I guess that's the best way to put it. They're not getting down every day. They come back to work, and that's that starts with Larks. I think he's got guys all pulling on the same rope in the same direction, and that speaks a lot to him. He's not a rah-rah guy, but he can be at times, but he just comes in and leads by example. His work ethic, the way he is around the room, the way he handles himself, guys follow that, and that would be the biggest takeaway for me, is the resolve that those guys are going to get better. They know it might not be immediate and right now, but they're committed to the process of getting better every day, and then they're going to be here for the turnaround. So I'm excited for them. I really am. It's just a great group of young guys in that room.
Bobby, I know the goals weren't gonna go in, and, you weren't gonna score like 100 goals this season or anything, yet, as the goal scoring wore off, you did, and I know you've alluded to this already, but how important is it for you as a veteran player, not only to continue that work ethic and be in position and make plays and get assists like you have been doing, to maybe as a calming influence for this young club that is still trying to find its way, that you as a veteran and very accomplished player, you can't deviate no matter what's going on. Is that kind of a fair statement?
It's a very, very fair statement. I think when you, again, as a team, when you're not getting goals night in and night out, I mean, it's very easy to get away from what makes you successful. And for me, I had the four early, and then I had about 6 games where I could have scored every night, but they weren't going in. So you start to swing, you start to get off battles because you want the puck so bad, you go the other way about getting it. And now I think in the last 6 or 7, I've really gotten back to being harder in battles, being harder at, I guess, being better at finding lanes to shoot. My shot percentage goes down, but that's okay, because at least you're getting shots, right? I think it's easier to get down if you're not finding opportunities. I had a great opportunity to score last night, didn't go in, but it led to something down the road. So, staying committed to doing the simple things is just, it's hard when you're not scoring, but having been through it before, when you get away from doing the simple things, that's when those things compound into, whatever it is, 20 games and something like that. So yeah, and then you got other guys going through. Lark should have had 2 last night, hits 2 posts, but he'll be right back to work and getting into those areas to score again. So when those turn, it's going to be, you hope they come in bunches for those guys. It's kind of all you tell them. You're going through it right now, but you come out the other side, and then you're going to score 4 quick goals in 4 or 5 games, and you'll be back to feeling like yourself.